Hello guys, welcome to Science Learning Gateway. I hope you all are doing good and doing a great revision for your term 2 exam. So this for basically what I am going to start today is that, as I've already promised you all, that from 1st April we are going to start a revision series for class 10 science for term 2 exam. In that this complete course will be of 10 days and it's completely free for you all. In that we are going to discuss all the 7 chapters which are coming for your term 2 exam, and after finishing all the 7 chapters we are going to discuss the important questions, case study based questions, and also the questions which were asked in the previous year exam, so that your complete syllabus will be covered in 10 days. So let's, without wasting our time, let's start with the last chapter from your textbook, that is our environment. As you all know that this chapter is very easy. Few of the things which you have to remember over there, and if any case study based questions or any conceptual based questions will be asked from this exam, from this chapter, you can write the answers by taking the points, and you can frame the answers according to your way. So this chapter carries 5 marks for your exam. So all the 7 chapters which are there for your exam is, the first chapter is carbonates compound, that is there. Periodic classification of element is there. Then how do organisms reproduce, and one more chapter from biology is heredity and evolution. And from physics, electricity, magnetic effect of electric current, our and yeah, that's all. And our environment is one of the chapter which will come from the last unit. So let's start our discussion from chapter number 15, our environment. In our environment, what are the topics which we have to read is that, let's go through that once. First of all, we have to read about ecosystem, then we will read about the environmental problems, that is ozone depletions, etc., waste production and their solution, and at last we will read about biodegradable and non-biodegradable substance. So these are the topics. It's a very small chapter and also very interesting, and you can score full marks in this chapter, that is 5 out of 5. So let's start with our discussion now. Okay, the first of all, as the name of the chapter is environment, so what is the meaning of environment? Let's learn that first. Environment. What is the meaning of the word environment? So what is environment? Environment is the place in which we are living. So it doesn't matter that only the living beings are there in the environment. It's nothing like that. Living things and non-living things, they make up the environment. For example, suppose some humans are there. Humans are there in the environment, plants are there, animals are there. Animals are there. And after that, air is there, water is there, sunlight is there, soil is there. Many things are there in this, and this total make up the environment. So interaction between the living things and the non-living things is called, what is that environment, right? So this humans, plants and animals, these are the living things. Air, water and light, these are non-living things. So living things are called biotic factor and non-living things are called abiotic factor. So you can say that interaction between living and non-living things make up an ecosystem, right? So environment is what you say, it is a mixture of all the living and the non-living things. For example, atmosphere is there, hydrosphere is there, lithosphere is there. That is the environment, and in our environment we all are living, correct? So let's start with the first topic from this lesson, that is ecosystem. So what is ecosystem? So just now I have told you that ecosystem is a combination of living thing and non-living thing. That is, it is a combination of biotic factor and abiotic factor. So let's see a flowchart which is given over there. If this is an ecosystem, so ecosystem comprises of biotic component. Biotic means the living component, and abiotic component, that is the non-living component. In living component or biotic component, plants are there, animals are there. And in abiotic component, soil is there, air is there, sunlight is there, water is there. So interaction between living and non-living component forms an ecosystem. So if this question will come, it will come for 1 marks. What is ecosystem? So what you'll say, interaction between living and non-living component is called an ecosystem. And one more question can come from here, that what are biotic components? So what you'll say, living components are called the biotic components, example plants and animals. And what are abiotic components? The non-living components of the ecosystem like air, water, soil and sunlight, they are called abiotic components. So let's start with the first point. Everything that surround us is environment. Means everything which is around us, air, water, soil, plants, animal, that is our environment. Both living, that is biotic, and non-living component are present in the environment. Yes, living things are also present in the environment and non-living things are also present. Now, interaction between living component, that interaction between biotic and abiotic component forms an ecosystem. In an ecosystem, living component depends on each other for food, which gives rise to food chain and food web. Yes, in ecosystem, living components depend on each other. For example, plants. Right? Plants are eaten by the herbivores. Herbivores were eaten by the carnivores, and carnivores are again consumed by the decomposers. Correct? So each of the organism depends on each other, and that forms a food chain. For example, if we have a grass is eaten by grasshopper. Grass is eaten by a grasshopper. This grasshopper can be eaten by a frog, and this frog can be eaten by a snake. So you can see that every organism are dependent on each other. For example, the first one, grasshopper, it depends on grass for the food. Frog depends on grasshopper for the food, and the snake depends on frog for the food. So they are forming a food chain because they all are dependent on each other for the food. Now, human activities are responsible for environmental problems like ozone depletion and carbon protection. Yes. Now, you have heard from your grandfather or grandmother that earlier our environment was very clean. They used to say that in our time the environment was very clean. In that time the pollution was also very less. The diseases were also very less. But nowadays, as we can see, that lot of environmental pollution and lot of health issues are there in nature or in our environment. People are suffering from many of the diseases: soil pollution, water pollution, air pollution, noise pollution. Lot of pollution we can see in the environment. And who are responsible for that? Obviously humans and their activities. We are only responsible for the changes which are there in the environment, or for the pollutions which we can see in the nature. now Now let's read about ecosystem and its type. So just now we have read the definition of ecosystem. So what is ecosystem? Ecosystem is a combination of biotic and abiotic component. Now, what are the components of ecosystem that we will read? Means what are the type components of, already we have read, biotic component, abiotic component. Those are the two components of the ecosystem. See, all the interacting organism in an area together with the non-living constant of the environment forms an ecosystem. In general, you can learn that interaction between living organisms and non-living organisms form an ecosystem. Examples of ecosystem, we can say forest is a ecosystem, pond is a ecosystem, garden is a ecosystem, lakes, aquarium, they all are ecosystem. In a forest, different types of trees, different types of animals, air, water, soil, all the things are there. Living thing is also there, non-living thing is also there. So forest is a ecosystem. So there are two types of ecosystem: natural ecosystem and artificial ecosystem. Natural ecosystem means the ecosystem which are present in the nature are called natural ecosystem. Ecosystem which are present in the nature by its own are called natural ecosystem. For example, forest, grassland, ocean, pond, etc. We have not made this forest, grassland, ocean and pond. These are given to us by the nature. So these are natural ecosystem. And what are artificial ecosystems? Artificial ecosystems are those ecosystems which are made by man. We have made those ecosystems. They are called artificial ecosystem. For example, crop field. Crop fields are made by the farmers. So that is an example of artificial ecosystem. Gardens are made by us. Suppose we have got one plot, and in that we want to make a garden, so we are making the garden over there. So that is an example of artificial ecosystem. Aquarium is again an example of artificial ecosystem. So this question can be asked: what is the difference between natural ecosystem and artificial ecosystem? Give example. So this is very easy. In terms first of all, you have to write the definition, and after that you will give the examples. Now see, just a flow chart is given over there. Two types of ecosystem: natural ecosystem and artificial ecosystem. Again, natural artificial ecosystem is divided into two parts: terrestrial ecosystem and aquatic ecosystem. Terrestrial means the ecosystem which is present on land. Terrestrial ecosystem is again divided into three parts: grassland ecosystem, forest ecosystem and desert ecosystem. Aquatic ecosystem we can divide again in two parts: freshwater ecosystem and marine ecosystem. So most important thing which you have to learn over there is that what are natural ecosystem and artificial ecosystem with an example. See over there also components of ecosystem flowchart is given. So there are two components of ecosystem, abiotic component and biotic component. Example of abiotic component, abiotic means the living, non-living components. Air, water, land, sunlight, these all are non-living things. So they comprise of abiotic component, and examples of biotic components are plants and animals. Now biotic components can be of three types: producers, consumers and decomposers. If we talk about consumers, there are four types of consumers: herbivores, carnivores, omnivores and parasites. So what are herbivores? Herbivores are those organisms which eat plants. Carnivores are those organisms which eat only animals. And omnivores are those organisms which eat both plants and animals. And what are parasites? Parasites are those organisms which depends on other organism for their food. Now, there are two, again we will read about biotic and abiotic component. So there are two components of the ecosystem, biotic and abiotic component. So what are abiotic components? Again, abiotic means non-living. So on all the non-living components such as air, water, temperature, soil, minerals, wind, rainfall, etc. forms the abiotic component of the ecosystem. What are biotic component? Bio means living, correct? In biology what we read? We used to read about plants and animals. So biotic component is a living component. Example, plants, animals, fungi, bacteria, different types of microorganisms are present in the biotic component. On the basis of nutrition, biotic components are divided into three types. Now, this biotic component we can divide into three types on the basis of the nutrition. Nutrition means on the basis of what type of food they are eating. And on the basis of that, biotic components are divided into producers, consumers and decomposers. So first of all, we'll read about producers. Producer means who are giving us the food. Producers who are producing the food. So directly or indirectly, we all are dependent on plants for our food. Directly or indirectly, we are dependent on plants for the food. So producers, plants are called producers or autotrophs because they can make their own food by the process called photosynthesis. So all the green plants, blue-green algae can produce their own food from inorganic substances like sunlight, carbon dioxide, water, etc. by the process of photosynthesis, and hence they are called producers. So one question can come over there that why green plants are called producers or autotrophs. So green plants are called producers or autotrophs because they can make their own food by the process of photosynthesis using carbon dioxide, sunlight, chlorophyll and water. Right? Next is consumers. So what are consumers? Consumers are those organisms which depend on other organisms for their food. Consumers depend on producers directly or indirectly for their food. Means all the consumers like animals, humans, we all are dependent on plants for the food. We all are dependent on producers for the food. So consumers are of four types. So what are the four types of consumers? Herbivores is the first one. Then we have carnivores, then we have omnivores, and at last we have parasites. So what are herbivores? Herbivores are those organisms which eat only plants. Example, deer, cow. Yeah. So herbivores are those organisms which eats only plants and grasses. Example, cow, deer, elephant. Next, carnivores. Carnivores are those animals which eat flesh or they eat other animals. Lion, tiger, right? Next, parasites. They live in the body of other organism and obtain the food from them. For example, head lice. Then ringworm, tapeworm, they live inside our intestine. Head lice lives in our hairs, in the head, and they suck the blood from there, and they get shelter also and they get food also. Next is plasmodium. Plasmodium is one of the causative agent for malaria, right? So parasites are those organisms which feed on other organisms for their food and shelter. Next we have omnivore. Omnivores are those organisms which eat both plants and animals. For example, cow, humans. Now let's read about decomposers. So decomposers are what? Decomposers are those organisms which break down the substances into small pieces. Example, bacteria, fungi. The organisms which break down or decompose dead plants and animals in complex compound. For example, a big piece of substance is there. What bacteria will do? It will break the substance into small pieces. So bacteria are decomposers because they are decomposing the substances. They are breaking the substances into small pieces. So decomposers are those organisms which break down complex compound into simpler substances, right? And they help in the replenishment of natural resources. When plants and animals will die, what will happen? After few days, the bacteria will break their body into small pieces, and those plants and animals will mix up with the soil. And after that, in the soil, humus will be, the soil will become fertile, right? So examples of decomposers are fungi and bacteria. Now, what is the importance of decomposers? So, decomposers play a very important role in our environment. The first importance of decomposers is decomposers break down the bodies of dead plants and animals and clean the environment. Yes, suppose in your house two or many plants are there and the plant will die. If the plant will keep on accumulating in your garden, what will happen? The environment will become polluted. So what bacteria will do? They will break the body of dead plants and animals into small pieces, and after that those small pieces will completely mix up with the soil, and our soil will also become fertile and our environment will also become clean. They add nutrients to the soil and maintain the fertility of the soil. Means when the dead plants and animals will die, they will mix up with the soil and the fertility of the soil will increase. They help in the replenishment of natural resources. Soil is a natural resource. So what these decomposers will do? They help in the replenishment of natural resources. Thus, these are the three importance of decomposers. Remember this one. Next is food chain. So what is food chain? The sequence of living organism in a community in which one organisms consume other organisms to transfer the food energy is called a food chain. For example, organism A, B is there, C is there, D is there. Organism A, for example, grass, will be eaten by B, that is grasshopper. Then this grasshopper can be eaten by a frog. Frog can be eaten by a snake. So in this, what is happening? They all are dependent on each other for their food and they're transferring the energy. So they are forming what? They're forming a food chain. So a food chain is a sequence of organism in which one organism depends on another organism for the food, and transfer of energy also takes place over there. A food chain is unidirectional, where transfer of energy takes place in one direction only. So in food chain, what happens? Transfer of energy will always be there in one direction. Means flow of energy will always take place in one direction. Means in this direction. It in reverse order, it's not possible at all. Always the energy will flow from one direction only. It is unidirectional. Next, examples of food chain. For example, in a forest, we can see that lots of plants and trees are there. So those plants and trees can be eaten by a deer, and that deer can be eaten by a lion. So that forms a food chain. In grassland, we can see that a lot of grasses are there. Grasses are eaten by insect or grasshopper. Those insects or grasshopper can be eaten by a frog, and frog can be eaten by a snake, and the snake can be eaten by a eagle. So they are forming a food chain. In a food chain, always 4 to 5 members are there, not more than that. Means the food chain comprises of 4 to 5 organisms, not more than that. Next, we will read about the tropic levels. So what are tropic levels? The various steps in a food chain at which transfer of energy or food take place is called tropic level. For example, A to B. A and B are two organisms. So this is first step, and from B to C, this is one of the steps. So this is tropic level 1, this is tropic level 2, T2. So this is first step and this is second step. The various levels in the food chain at which the transfer of food or energy takes place is called a tropic level. There is gradually a decrease in amount of energy transfer from one tropic level to the next tropic level in the food chain. For example, it is a pyramid of energy. So this one is for producers in which all the plants are there. So these producers or the plants, they will have the maximum energy which they get from the sun. Suppose they are having 10,000 kilocalorie of energy. So this producers, they are transferring that energy to the primary consumers, and after that 10% of energy is transferred to them. So they are having 1000 kilocalorie of energy. Again, that energy is transferred to the secondary consumer. So they are again having 10% of the energy, 100 kilocalorie. And at last we have tertiary consumer, the last level of the consumer, who are getting only 10 kilocalorie of energy. So we can see that as we go from top to bottom, the energy decreases in our tropic level. Now, flow of energy in a food chain is unidirectional. When energy will flow in a food chain, it will be only in one direction. Uni means one direction. Green plants capture 1% of sunlight and convert it into food energy. During the process of photosynthesis, what the green plants will do? They will capture only 1% of sunlight from the sun. They will capture only 1% of the sunlight from the sun and use this 1% of energy to make food by using the process called photosynthesis. Next, one more important point which is given in your textbook is 10% law. So what is 10% law? 10% law states that only 10% of energy is transferred to the next tropic level. As you can see from here, that producers are transferring only 10% of energy. If you calculate 10% of 10,000, then you will get 10,000 only. So only 10% of energy will be transferred to the next tropic level. And what will happen to the 90% of energy? The rest 90% of energy is used in various processes, like in digestion, it is used in reproduction, in growth, in movement. In those processes, that 90% of energy is used. So according to 10% law, only 10% of energy is transferred to the next tropic level, and the remaining 90% is used in various life processes like digestion, respiration, reproduction, etc. Now, due to gradual decrease in energy, food chain contains 3 to 4 tropic levels only. Means as the energy decreases from first to next tropic level. So in a food chain, only 3 to 4 tropic levels are present, not more than that. Next, we'll read about biological magnification. From this part also, many times questions are asked from biological magnification. So it is also one of the most important topic from this chapter. So what is biological magnification? The increase in concentration of harmful chemicals in the body of organism in each tropic level in a food chain is called biological magnification. Means, for example, as you can see that A, B, C and D. Suppose this is a food chain, and in this, suppose some of the chemicals or harmful substances are there present in this organism A. It will be transferred to organism B. Again, that harmful substances will be transferred to organism C, and that harmful substance will again transfer to organism D also through a food chain. So that is called biological magnification. Increase in concentration of harmful substances in the body of organism in each tropic level in a food chain is called biological magnification. For example, we humans, we are eating different types of plants and animals. In plants also pesticides, insecticides are used, and in animals also various types of harmful chemicals are present. So what will happen in our body also, those chemicals, insecticides or pesticides will enter, right, and it will accumulate it in our body. So we are also affected because of that pesticides and insecticides which are used for the plants. So that is called biological magnification. What is biological magnification? Increase in the concentration of harmful chemicals in the body of organism is called biological magnification. For example, if I draw a pyramid, this is T1, this is T2, this is T3 and this is T4. So can you say that biological means concentration of harmful chemicals will be there in which level? In which level it will be more? In T4 level the harmful chemicals will be more, and T1 level it will be less, because it is keep on accumulating, it will keep on deposited, and at last at the highest level the accumulation will be more. As human beings occupy the top level in the food chain, the maximum concentration of these chemicals get accumulated in our body. Right? We used to eat different types of plants and animals, and at last we are humans, right? So we are the last level in the food chain, and we are getting that harmful chemicals in our body. All the chemicals will be accumulated in our body. The next topic is food web. So what is food web? Interconnected food chain is called a food web. That is a very easy definition of food web. In a food web, you can see in this picture that so many food chains are there. So all the food chains are getting interlinked or interconnected. That forms a food web. So what is food web? Of interconnected food chain operating in an ecosystem which establish a network of relationship between various species are called food web. If you can't remember this definition, you can write an easy definition that interconnected food chain are called a food web. Right? So in a food web, organisms may occupy a position in more than one food chain. An organism can obtain its food from different sources and in turn may be eaten by the different types of organism. So you can see in this picture so many food chains are there. So one organism can be present in different food chains, and they all are interlinked and can be eaten by different types of organisms. So this is an example of a food web. Now, how do our activities affect the environment? This is one of the most important topic from this lesson. In this, we are going to read about ozone depletion, ozone hole. Means how human activities are affecting the environment. Why environment is getting changed, or what are the changes which we can see in the environment. So changes in the environment affect us, and our activities change the environment around us. That is true. If we are doing that, you, as you all know, that the population is increasing day by day. Because of that population increase in population, the human needs are increasing. Human needs is increasing, and because of that, pressure in the environment, lot of pressure is there. We are using more water, so water is also getting depleted these days, right? So because of our activities, so many environmental issues are there. We are using plastics, and plastics are creating a lot of pollution in the environment. We are using coal in different industries that are also causing environmental problems. So human activities lead to environmental problems like pollution. About pollution, you all know that because of human activities, a lot of pollutions are there. Depletion of ozone layer, waste disposal, these all are the important problems which we can see because of the human activities: pollution, depletion of ozone layer, and waste disposal. So one by one we are going to discuss each of these topics. So first of all, we'll read about ozone layer and how it is getting depleted. So first of all, do you know what is the formula of ozone? The formula of ozone is O3. O3. Three oxygen atoms are combining together to form one ozone molecule. So what is ozone layer? So first of all, we should know that. Suppose this is our earth, and around that one ozone layer is there, which is present in the atmosphere. This ozone layer protects us from the harmful UV radiation of the sun. It acts as a blanket for us. Which protect us from the harmful UV rays of the sun. See, ozone layer is a protective blanket around the earth which absorbs most of the harmful UV rays of the sunlight. Suppose over there the sun is there. So what ozone layer will do? It will absorb the UV rays from the sun, and it will not allow the UV rays to reach to us, to our earth. So it acts as a protective blanket for us which protect us from the harmful UV radiation of the sun. So you should remember the function of ozone. What is the function, or what is the importance of ozone layer for us? So one line you have to remember over that is that ozone layer protect us from the harmful UV radiations of the sun, right? So it protects us also, it protects the plants also, and humans also. Many of the skin issues, eye problems are occurring because of the UV rays. People are suffering from skin cancer, skin diseases, cataract, then immune system is getting weak because of the UV radiation, and from all these problems the ozone layer protects us. Ozone layer is present at the higher level of the atmosphere. And which layer of the atmosphere ozone is present? Is present in the stratosphere. You must have read this in your junior classes. In stratosphere layer, ozone layer is present. It is a deadly poisonous gas at a ground level. If you talk about ozone, it is a very poisonous gas, but it has a great importance in the atmosphere. It protects us from the harmful UV rays of the sun. Now let us see the formation of ozone molecule, how ozone molecules are formed. The high energy UV radiations break down oxygen molecule into free oxygen. Means UV rays of the sun, they will break down the oxygen molecule O2 into free oxygen atom O plus O. In the next step, what will happen? Again, one molecule of oxygen will combine with the free oxygen atom to form ozone molecule. So there are two steps in the formation of ozone. First of all, the UV rays of the sun, they will break down the oxygen molecule into free oxygen atom. Again, oxygen atom will combine with the free oxygen atom will combine with the oxygen molecule to form a ozone molecule O3. Depletion of ozone layer. So what are the problems which we are facing now because of depletion of ozone layer, and what are the factors which are responsible for depletion of ozone layer? Let's learn this. The decrease in the thickness of the ozone layer over Antarctica was first observed in 1985 and was termed as ozone hole. In this country, Antarctica, Antarctica area, what was there in that area, what was the first time in the year 1985 it was observed that ozone layer is getting depleted. Means it is getting thin. Day by day it is getting thin, and the scientists over there, they have termed it as ozone hole. This decrease was linked to excessive use of synthetic chemicals like chlorofluorocarbons, which are used in refrigerators, ACs, fire extinguishers, aerosol sprays, and etc. And why this ozone layer is getting depleted? Because of the use of one of the harmful chemicals called CFC. The full form of CFC is chlorofluorocarbon, and nowadays this CFC is used in refrigerators, air conditioners, fire extinguishers, aerosol sprays, etc. Because of use of this CFC, the ozone layer is getting depleted. That's why the government have given a guideline to the refrigerator companies that if they have to make those type of refrigerators which are free of CFC, means the refrigerators which should be manufactured now, in that CFC should not be used to make those refrigerators. So one question can come these days, that why the companies have been given a guideline to make CFC free refrigerator. So you can see that, say that CFC is very harmful for our environment, and because of the use of CFC, our ozone layer is getting depleted, and ozone layer protects us from the harmful UV rays. That's why CFC free refrigerators are recommended these days. United Nations Environmental Program UNEP succeeded in foregoing an agreement to stop CFC production in 1986 levels. Kyoto Protocol by all the countries. See, one protocol was given by different countries that CFC should not be used in the environment, so that our ozone layer will be protected. It should not get depleted. So the main chemical, the most important chemical or harmful chemical which is responsible for the depletion of ozone layer is CFC, and the full form of CFC is chlorofluorocarbon. It can come for 1 marks. So remember that. Next is managing the garbage we produce. In this, we are going to read about biodegradable waste and non-biodegradable waste. You have seen that in your house, when that van will come to collect the garbage, so they have two dustbin, one for wet waste and one for dry waste. Correct? So in that topic, we are going to read about biodegradable waste and non-biodegradable waste. In our daily activities, we generate lot of materials that are thrown away. There are two types of materials which are present in the garbage. Yes, and when we go outside also, we can see there are two dustbins are there in our locality. One is for dry waste, another is for wet waste, and the materials which we throw in the dry waste are called non-biodegradable waste, and the materials we throw in the wet dustbin, they are biodegradable waste. In that, vegetable peels are there, fruit peels are there, cotton, juice, paper, those things are there in the biodegradable waste. So what are biodegradable? Bio means living, degradable means broken down. Okay, so the waste which are decomposed or broken down by the action of microorganisms are called biodegradable waste. So it's very easy, nothing to get confused over there. The waste which are decomposed, or you can say are broken down into small pieces by microorganisms are called biodegradable waste. Example, vegetable peel, fruit peel, cotton, juice, paper. Suppose you take some vegetables peels or fruit peels of orange, apple, then cucumber peels, etc., and you take it and put it in anywhere in the soil or in any of the pot where soil is there. After few days, you will see that those vegetable peel will mix up with the soil, right? So it is not polluting our environment. The microorganisms have broken them into small pieces, and after that, those small pieces were mixed up with the soil. Next is our non-biodegradable waste. So what are non-biodegradable waste? The waste which are not decomposed by microorganisms, or which are not broken down into small pieces by microorganisms, are called non-biodegradable waste. Example, plastic, glass, metals, pesticides. These all are the examples for biodegradable. Suppose you throw one glass piece in the garden. After 1 month or 2 months also, the same glass piece will be there. It will not be it will not mix up with the soil. Right? In the same way, pesticides will also not mix up with the soil. It will cause pollution in the environment. So they are the examples of non-biodegradable waste. So question can be asked over there that what are biodegradable and non-biodegradable waste? Give examples. Sometimes application-based questions are also asked from there. The waste which are broken down into simpler forms are called biodegradable waste. The waste which are broken down into which are not broken down into simpler forms are called non-biodegradable waste. They are not harmful to plants and animals, but non-biodegradable waste, they are harmful to plants and animals. They do not cause pollution. Example, fruits, vegetable, and paper. They cause pollution. Example, plastic, glass, and DDT. So that's all about biodegradable and non-biodegradable waste. And the last part of this chapter is methods of waste disposal. See, so there are different methods of waste disposal. The first one is biogas plant. All the biodegradable waste can be used in the biogas plant to make biogas and to make manure. Biogas can be used for cooking food and manures can be used for growing the plants. Next is sewage treatment plant. The rainwater can be cleaned in sewage treatment plant before adding it to river. Means many of the factories, they produce of polluted water, so those polluted water can be treated in the waste in the sewage treatment plant, and after that, that water can be given off to the river, so that all the harmful waste should be removed from that water. Landfillings. The waste are buried in low lying areas and are compacted by rolling with bulldozers. Yes, many times you have seen that in the areas which are very low lying, in that all the waste, they are buried over there. Okay, and after that it is rolled with the bulldozers. Composting. So organic waste are filled in compost pit and converted with a layer of, covered with a layer of soil. After about 3 months, garbage changes to manure. Yes, many times what happen, all the organic waste like vegetable peel, fruit peel, dead plants and animals, they are filled in the compost pit, and after that with a layer of soil they are covered. After 3-4 months, when we will go, we can see that those wastes are changed into manure. Recycling. The non-biodegradable waste, like for example plastic bottles, glass, they can be used to make new items, so those things are recycled. Next is reuse. It is conventional techniques to reuse an item again. For example, newspapers can be used for making paper bags, correct? So we can reuse many of the things. For example, the empty jar bottles, empty pickle bottles, we can use in the kitchen to keep many things of our use. So that's all about this chapter, our environment. I hope you all have understood this lesson. It's a very easy lesson, guys. Please go through it once. All the notes I provided to you from the NCERT chapter, and we have completed this first chapter from our revision series in one shot. So just in 30 minutes, so we have finished this lesson. So I hope this is easy for you. Please go through it. If any application based question will be asked, apply your mind little bit and you can give the answers, correct? So in the next tomorrow again we will come up with a new video. If you're new to my channel, then please subscribe to it, so that you can finish your term 2 syllabus in just 10 days, and after that you can write your exam, and it's really very helpful for you all. So thank you for watching. If you like this tutorial, then please click on the like button and don't forget to hit the bell icon, so that whenever I will be uploading a new video, you will get the notification for that. So thank you guys, and if you have any doubt, you can post your comment in the comment box. Definitely I will give a reply to you. Thank you.